Is fall 2025 the worst season of the entire year? That cannot be answered now because the season has barely started, but just looking at the titles we have coming up, it feels terribly unexciting. So we are going to take a look into this season, what I will possibly watch, and let's see if there's any hidden gems to look out for. Starting off right away, sorting by popularity, One Punch Man Season 3, I will not be watching this, for the simple reason that even though I do like One Punch Man, it is just the animation, we've all seen the memes, One Frame Man, it's just so bland and uninspired. Let me just get to the original here. So, the original One Punch Man, I think fans can now appreciate in retrospect how spoiled they were because it was great. The animation was stunning. It was truly a marvel of its time. And unfortunately, you see that something that started off so strong fell off a little bit in Season 2. I think Season 2 is actually quite inflated in terms of rating on my anime list just because it's One Punch Man, it has such a big fan base. But in Season 3, the cracks really are starting to show, and I don't think this rating will rise much even when the anime ends. I think it's just an unfortunate fall off. I think most fans have already conformed themselves that One Punch Man will never reach the bald heights it reached once before. And it's a shame because I really enjoy the manga. I did stop reading the manga for a while because the author kept redrawing chapters and pages and I had no idea what was going on there. But whenever he does pick up the story and actually progresses with it, I will go back to reading it, and it's such a shame that the anime is so bad because the series is legitimately super good. The art in the manga is stunning. It's just a shame that it's not adapted with the care and love and time and resources it deserves. Up next, Spy Family Season 3, and this may be controversial with the type of fans that I think I have on my YouTube channel, but Spy Family is to me one of the best anime of all time. It is very niche, it is not for everybody, it is a wholesome comedy, not everybody is into that, but I think it is excellent. It is perhaps the best at that one single niche, and it is so good, I love it so much, but the thing with Spy Family is that you watch it to have fun, to be entertained, to relax. You don't really get excited for Spy Family, at least I don't. It's not like I have to know what's going to happen in the story in Season 3. It's not like, let's say, a next season of Lord of the Mysteries or a next season of ReZero that really gets me excited. Spy Family is good. It is always entertaining, but it doesn't really get me going. It doesn't really touch me in the right places if you get... hold up. Let's go back. What I meant to say is that Spy Family is always something that I enjoy watching, but it doesn't really get me super excited to watch. And if a season has Spy Family as the best anime of that season, I think it is an indicator that we really didn't have any S-tier shows, which I think may be the case for fall 2025. Also, for me personally, I have a hard time getting excited for Spy Family because I know that I will not be watching it weekly. I watch this with my wife and we both really enjoy it, but unlike myself, who grew up watching anime weekly ever since I was a small teenager, watching the Narutos and the Inuyashas and whatever I watched back at the time, she prefers to binge watch things. So for Spy Family, because I don't really feel the need to watch it twice in such a short span of time, I don't think it's that type of show. I enjoy it, but not that much. And so I will be binge watching this at the end of the year or whenever the season finishes, and so I will not be watching it weekly, which also diminishes my excitement for it a little bit. Up next, My Hero Academia final season. I will be completely honest with you, I dropped My Hero a long time ago, around season 4, season 5, this is what, season 7? This is season 8 actually, so that's wow, that's a lot of seasons. At some point, I started becoming a manga reader, and My Hero Academia started having these weird sort of filler episodes, or episodes that were anime original and didn't really add much, and I thought that at some point, during season 4, 5-ish, I don't really remember where I dropped it, but at some point, it started feeling like the animation wasn't really amazing me anymore. I think one of the things that made me go whoa when it comes to My Hero Academia was the Todoroki versus Izuku fight right in the first seasons, and that fight was just completely mind-blowing, but after that, it felt like those moments of brilliance were scarcer and scarcer, and it reached the point where I'm like, I'm reading the manga, I really don't feel the need to waste more time and watch the anime since I already know the story, and the animation isn't really doing it for me. So I dropped the anime. I might watch this final season just because the final season may bring some exciting levels of animation that may compel me to watch it, but if it doesn't have any stunning fights or if it doesn't really have anything going for it besides, being the final season, then I likely won't watch this since I've already read the manga. Up next, To Your Eternity Season 3, and this one I will definitely watch as well. I'll probably watch this weekly, but the thing is, once again, this really doesn't touch me where I want to be touched. It's something I will watch. It's a sequel to a series that I enjoy, but it's not terribly exciting. And this season may shift my opinion of the series as a whole, which is exciting because we are getting into a whole new setting. This was set in a more or less medieval setting. I'm using the word medieval very loosely here, but from my understanding, season 3 will go to a more modern setting, which is a great change in its premise, so I enjoy that, and let's hope they do good things with it. But the thing is, with To Your Eternity, I really enjoyed season 1. I thought season 1 was tremendous, very good, but season 2 sort of rehashed the formula and kept evolving with it in a direction that I didn't necessarily agree with or I didn't think was as good. And so season 2 to me had a bit of a fall off. It wasn't as good as season 1. So let's hope that season 3, which right away I'm not super excited for, but I will definitely give it a chance, and let's hope that season 3 reignites the passion that I had for this show all the way back in season 1. So I'm hoping the best for this. I hope that everything is on point. I hope the story can make a sort of mini comeback, and let's see how it goes. Now, this is the part of the video where I will piss off a lot of people because I'm going to judge anime simply based off their title and promotional image. And is that unfair? Yes. Should you judge a book by its cover? No. However, I'm still going to do it because at some point I am strapped for time and I definitely don't want to watch as many shows as I did in the summer season, and this is sort of a bit of a pre-filter, and if something makes some buzz online, if I see that something is getting a lot of recognition, even sometimes in niche fandoms, like for example, I remember a few years back I skipped on Rakugo because it just didn't seem like it would appeal to me, but I saw a lot of people talking about it, especially YouTubers. For some reason that year AniTube was just, Rakugo is the best anime of all time, and I was like, okay, let's check this out. And I definitely wouldn't say it's the best anime of all time, but I did greatly enjoy it. So make this as more of a pre-selection. I'm sort of just looking for things that might pique my interest, but this doesn't in any way discount anything from being good or from me watching it eventually. So may I ask for one final thing? No, you may not. Moving on. Just more light novels, school, isekai fantasy. No. Actually, this one, once again, the title is Japan. Come on. What happened to One Piece? Naruto? Inuyasha? What happened to short names? Now everything has to be a synopsis in itself. Japan. Stop. Anyway, this one, even though I will be honest, just from the title alone and the fact that it's another fantasy isekai, oh boy, I've never seen that one before. But this one, I saw the art on social media and the art style seemed to be very interesting. Actually, I'll be honest, this promotional art isn't really... Hold up, let's see if Google is kinder to this show than this. Yeah, this is just images of the light novel. Okay, cool. Anime? No? Yeah, so the show has this sort of grittier art style, at least it seemed so, and I just think it looks interesting, and because the season in general is so dry, I think I will end up watching this just out of curiosity, just to see if it does something for me, if it can captivate my eyes, maybe it can captivate my heart. This is not love advice. This is purely talking about anime, but it may be love advice as well, depending on how you want it. But either way, I will be watching this show. I'm going to be honest. I am not super excited. I'm mildly excited. I am indifferent towards it. I think it has everything to surprise me, because if this show is even remotely good, then I'm going to be pleasantly surprised and I will glaze it online in a video later. So stay tuned. Up next, Ranma second season. I will not be watching this. I didn't watch the first one. I didn't watch the original. This is by Rumiko, the same author that made Inuyasha, which is a great part of my childhood, but not something I would necessarily want to go back to. It has a lot of pacing issues. The series does nothing for hundreds of episodes, which can be quite frustrating. And also, this show just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it would be something I would enjoy on the face of it. It just doesn't appeal to me super strongly. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell me that this is the biggest mistake of my life, and maybe I will watch it at some point if something stands out to me. Maybe sometimes I am super petty and just super moody when it comes to anime. Sometimes all an anime needs is really a good opening, and I see it and I'm like, that's a good opening, I'll watch the show. Or sometimes just a 20-second clip on X or Twitter, or however you want to call that piece of social media. Sometimes just a good clip on social media is all it takes to get me interested. So let's see, but either way, it is not in the plans for now. Quickly running through this, the first one that stands out to me is, of course, Ginpachi Sensei. For those of you who don't know, Gintama is my favorite anime of all time. And I know, yes, shocking. No one expected this plot twist. A lot of you assume that my favorite anime of all time is ReZero. And hold up. You know what? I don't like this question, because you don't get to ask what's your favorite child, who's your favorite child. That is rude. That is inconvenient. You do not make that question. That is awkward. So no, I will not pick. I love all of my children. Okay? So I'll get back to you. I'll maybe one day make a top anime and then I will decide. But either way, Gintama is in contention for my favorite anime of all time. And this is a bit of a side story from what I understand, based on a light novel from a few years ago. So yeah, a light novel from 2006, so the premise in itself is not terribly exciting. I don't think this will be a masterpiece, but I don't think it's meant to be. What I do expect from this is the good old Gintama fun and gag humor that I enjoy so much, to see the old characters back, the old voice actors back, and to hopefully get some modern jokes and to sort of update the old jokes that they're adapting from the light novel. I expect to see some modern references, as Gintama always does, so I expect this to be very good, very entertaining. Once again, much like in the vein of Spy Family, where it doesn't get me super excited in the sense of experiencing a story that will blow me away with tremendous writing, but I expect this to be a super fun watch, and at the end of the day, we all watch anime to have fun, right? Not all of us. Some of us really enjoy watching anime to suffer, which is a peculiar phenomenon on the anime fandom that one day needs to be studied. Up next, we have Isekai Quartet 3, and being completely honest, the idea of watching this does sound mildly appealing, mostly because it contains some of my favorite IPs of all time. You can see right behind me the light novels for Overlord, for ReZero. I also really enjoyed Yojo Senki when I watched the anime back in the day. Konosuba is something I mildly enjoyed, not a huge fan of it, but I do like it. Shield Hero is something I can overlook, but the thing about this is, number one, I feel like there's already a bit too many anime on the sort of comedy slot this season, namely Spy Family, Gintama, that I will be watching for sure, and then this is the third season, so 3 seasons seems like a lot of commitment for what this is. So the idea of watching this may sound appealing, but I think in practice, this will stay in my plan to watch list for all eternity. Up next, we have Uma Musume, and this really stood out to me. And keep in mind, I've never played the video game of the horse girls racing and doing... I don't even know what you do in that game. I just saw clips of dudes going crazy with the horses. And, I hope you guys have your fun. But I've never played the video game, but the anime has such a high rating. It's ridiculous. And I don't know if this just has a super dedicated fan base, or if the anime is legitimately good by itself. So maybe this is a question for you guys in the comments. Is this worth watching for someone who has never played the game and knows nothing about the girls who are horses, or horses who are girls and they race? I don't know, but is this worth watching by itself without any context? Because I've also seen that this is a prequel. I don't know to what, but leave it in the comments below. I'm not sure if I should watch this, but I will say I was very shocked at how high of a rating something like this had. So that was very surprising. Up next, we have more seasonal slop, more romance, more fantasy, lovely stuff, and then we have Kingdom Season 6. And this is very interesting because I read the manga for Kingdom, I loved it, I think it's a tremendous manga, and the thing is, I would put this in the category of, let's say, a Dr. Stone or a My Hero Academia, in which I've read the manga, but I don't think that the animation for the anime adaptation is good enough to warrant me watching the same thing twice. So even though I really like Kingdom, I think that it's just the adaptation from what I saw really didn't spark my interest much. So if you are someone who has not read the manga, I would definitely recommend you continue watching Kingdom because I think it is legitimately very good. But if you, like me, are a manga reader, then I don't know, it's just, at least from the season, the one before this one, the 5th season, that also got a little bit hit with COVID and production stopped and then it restarted. It was all of this crazy thing. But either way, I think that season there really wasn't super exciting, even though it was adapting my favorite arc. And the moment that my favorite arc didn't really get me going, I decided I just wouldn't watch the anime anymore. And so this is where we are. I think the manga is super good, but once again, the anime, not so much. Up next, Digimon Beat Break, and Digimon is something I'm very frustrated with as an IP because I think much like Pokemon, it has tremendous potential and it fails to execute on it. It fails to capitalize on the huge market of people that would greatly enjoy a good Digimon anime, and maybe this will be super good. I don't think it will be, because the thing about Digimon is that it has a string of failures in the last few years that has left just a bad taste in my mouth from someone who a few years back played Cyber Sleuth, greatly enjoyed it and wanted to get back into the series but just couldn't because nothing really appealed to me. There were those movies of adventure that were sort of pseudo sequels or whatever they were. I don't think those were very good. I think they both failed at introducing new people into Digimon because I think they were meant for people that had already watched Digimon Adventure back in the day. But for those people, I think the story really failed at perhaps targeting an older audience that grew up with Digimon, and I just think they weren't good either for new viewers or older viewers. It was just sort of this bland mix that just didn't really appeal to anybody. And then the Digimon Adventure remake, I tried watching it when it came out a few years ago, and it just it felt like even worse in some ways than the original because it just had less charm. It reminded me a lot of the Shaman King remake, in which it sort of just tried to recapture the flame of its past, but it just couldn't. It felt more bland, more corporate, less just passionate, with less love put into it. So I don't know if Digimon Beat Break will be good, but from the sort of historic that we have for Digimon series, I don't think it will be. I think the way you go with Digimon is one of two routes. You either make an anime that is very kid-friendly but also with a charm that can make adults watch it. Something like, let's say, a Spy Family or something like the Ghibli movies, right? And I know these are very specific examples, but the point I'm trying to get across here is that you can make something for kids that is not too childish, something that is directed for kids and kids can watch, but is also palatable for adults. And I think that there's a real art to making something like that, but I think Digimon could operate on that lane very successfully. And alternatively, I think that Digimon has always had more of an edge than Pokemon did, and I think if you made a Digimon series for adults, something grittier, rougher, more in the veins of, for example, Digimon Tamers, which I loved and had a lot of more mature themes, I think that would be pretty cool as well. So I don't know, I hope the frustration is coming through because I just wish I could enjoy this so much and I just can't because it's never really captured that interest in me. And then moving on with the list, most of these are shows nobody will watch, nobody will even recognize a few weeks later. And on the continuing section, I will obviously continue watching Gachiakuta. I think it is tremendous. I think if anything, it's gotten better in the second course, so I am loving it. I will keep watching it and I'll keep maybe making videos about it and glazing it so it gains some new fans. If I can even get one person to watch Gachiakuta, then it is a job well done. Well done myself. I will sleep better. And no, I won't sleep much, let's be honest. But for those 6 hours or 4 hours that I'm sleeping, it's going to be great. And besides that, I don't think that I have really any leftover from the previous season. A few people mentioned Togen Anki was absolute mid, and so hey, sometimes there's beauty in watching a good mid, you know what I'm saying, but I don't think there's any beauty in this particular one, and the rest is just whatever. And then we get to the movie section, which I don't really watch. Oh, this is the ONA section. I just want to talk a bit about Shuumatsu no Walküre, because this anime is, once again, I don't know what is the problem with Netflix, but Netflix always ruins some of my favorite fighting mangas, and I really resent it for it. We had Kengan Ashura, which is one of my favorite fighting mangas of all time. It is so good, it's so good. And then the animation for the Netflix show is just, ew, it looks like a cutscene from a PlayStation 2 game. What is wrong with who animated that? It's just super bad, and it's so off-putting because I really enjoy how wacky and gritty and almost Baki-esque the art is in the Kengan Ashura manga, and especially in Kengan Omega, where the art style greatly improves. But the art style in the anime is just, just why? And then they also ruined Baki, which ruined is a strong word, but come on, I watched the original Baki that came out in the 90s or the early 2000s, and I greatly enjoyed it. And the thing about Baki was, I could let it get away with it because my expectations weren't super big, because it is an anime from the 90s, so I'm not going to be super judgmental about the level of animation. But then Netflix did the sequels to Baki, and it's just, once again, you're watching that for the voice acting, I guess, and for the dramatic music, because the animation itself, it's just PowerPoints and slides and just, the frame is moving, ooh, aren't you amazed? I don't know, man. I don't know what the problem with Netflix is, but somebody should look at their fighting anime department, if that even exists, and fire that guy, because that guy is not doing a good job. He's doing an excellent job at getting IPs with a lot of excitement behind them, but then the execution is just terrible. And the same thing with Shuumatsu no Valkyrie, Record of Ragnarok, however you want to call this. The manga is super good. It is good in the sense that it is wacky and it is very entertaining. I don't think the storyline is the writing masterpiece of our century or anything like that, but it is super fun to read. And then the anime is just literally the manga panels colored with music behind them, and the panels move sometimes. It's just unless you really like the voice actors or the music, maybe the soundtrack for this show is a banger, and I don't know. But unless you really like the voice actors, there is literally no reason for you to watch this instead of reading the manga, because it's just the same thing, but just more dragged out and with a slower pace. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what the problem with Netflix is. Somebody needs to go there and just, give them a piece of business. Just make them put good stuff out. I don't know. I don't know what I can say without getting in trouble on YouTube. So, I wish lovely things for everybody. This video is purely for comedic purposes. I would never wish anything bad on anyone, not even my enemies, because you know what? I have no enemies. That's a Vinland Saga reference for you. So this is it. Once again, at first glance, this season doesn't really have anything that I think will be S tier, that will be peak fiction, but once again, I sometimes overlook anime. Maybe the premise doesn't seem that interesting, or maybe the art style doesn't seem that interesting, but then things surprise me. I mentioned Rakugo a few years back, which I overlooked, and then I went back, watched it, and loved it. So as of right now, I will be watching Spy Family, To Your Eternity, whatever this was, I was reincarnated as something, whatever, art style, cool, I'll watch this. And then I will be watching Gintama, and I think that's pretty much it. That's the season for me. That's it. So not a huge crop of anime that I think will move mountains, or that I think will be on the top tier at the tier list that I will be doing at the end of the year. But maybe I overlooked something. Maybe you in particular are excited for something that you think might be special. So leave it in the comments below. Be sure, as always, to leave a like, subscribe, and ciao.